Alright guys, this is Howlermouse and I am trying a little something different here. Got some of my hardback books out. I call them table editions because of what size they are, and I have 3 or 4 I'm probably going to shoot some videos on high def camera, so hopefully this will work. And I've set it up to where I can see the camera, see what you guys see, and I'm also going to be trying to turn the pages. So we're starting out with Alex Ross's Mythology. This is his work at DC from around 95 to 2003. This hardback edition came out in 93. And what I have here is the dust cover. This is really good because the first section of the book starts out with a little autobiography and things that Alex Ross did as a child. Alex Ross, of course, does what I call photorealistic drawing. That is probably the right term. You know, he uses oil paints, airbrush, inks, everything. Here's the back of the dust cover. And on the inside of the dust cover, I really really going out and buying this. The guys are getting a free commercial from me, because what you're seeing here are pencils, and his pencils they're so not complex, but he does angles and perspectives and things that he uses live models that it takes a minute for your eyes to adjust if you're used to just comic book art. Like that is the Creeper's face, some heroes, Batman's face, and as we travel, it funnels into a bunch of heroes attacking a bunch of villains. Now his pencils are fantastic, but without the dust cover on, that is actually the cover of our book. Okay. It's just fantastic. Now, what I like about Alex Ross, besides his art, is that we are around the same age. He's a few years older than me, but Alex Ross really, to me, lives in a time bubble. And his time bubble, here's the inside of the book. Excuse me while I adjust. Well, that's going to work for us. And what I like about Alex Ross is that he is in a time bubble. That puts a lot of people off, and he likes the pure versions of the heroes. He likes how they were when he was a kid, off of Super Friends in the 70s. Now, of course, this is a lot of random stuff. He has done a lot of phenomenal work. This is actually a statue, I believe. No, that's a painting. But Alex Ross uses live models. There's some Kingdom Come stuff. Here's him as a kid. And there he is with a Superman who I think is actually Robert Kirk at the Airspace Museum in 1977. And you can kind of see, yeah, here's the statues that I was talking about. He has statues. Here's Alex Ross in his work area. He collects figures. He actually takes them out of the box. And like I said, he was in sort of a time bubble. He always goes back to the 70s. The Legion of the 70s by Dave Cockrum. The Super Friends, he did a 12-issue miniseries called Justice, which was more or less a grown-up version of Challenge of the Super Friends, a cartoon in the late 70s where it was the Legion of Doom in their headquarters that looked like Darth Vader's head in the swamp. And here's the stuff that he was doing as a kid. So, Dave Cockrum, some others were, I don't know if he's ever said it, but, if they were an artist in the 70s, they influenced them. Norman Rockwell, he talks about it in this book. Norman Rockwell is an influence. Here's things he did as a kid. You can see his progression. Age 10, they give you the ages. And here's some things he made out of construction paper, it looks like. His mother still has these, and she pulled them out for this book. Like I said, Norman Rockwell was a huge influence on him. Here's some designs he did. I'm going to try to zoom in there. I don't want to mess with the camera too much. But, this was Alex Ross doing a Justice Union of Earth. So he's always sort of had a vision of revamping the heroes. Yeah, snapper car. Alright. Try not to do that too much, so we can just get through this with because there's a lot in here. I'm not going to show you every page, but and here's his influence. Norman Rockwell talks about Norman Rockwell's work, how it influenced him to do the covers for Kingdom Come. And then we have Andrew Loomis, who did also photorealistic pencils and stuff, and he talks about books and shading and what he learned from there, anatomy. Okay, so this has pencil work that he did, early works that he did, just anything, paintings he's done over other artists. He painted over this picture of Superman in Doomsday's Fist off of Dan Jurgens. So there's a big Superman section as we go on. He collects action figures. He has a wooden Superman and a wooden Captain Marvel that he got during the 40s. He always goes back to the work. He'll get the prints and he'll get models and he'll work out perspectives and, classic stuff. I mean, he's just a lover. You can just tell he was a kid when he was a lover of all this stuff. Here's the statue that he has. He's also experimented with animation style and submitted some of this stuff. This is Bruce Timm influenced Superman. I don't think any of it was ever used. This was just stuff that he wanted to do. It says more in the book, but I can go through there and we get sketches and more Superman stuff. This is just the first part of the book. Moving on, he has a Batman section, which is just amazing. And I am skipping through this so we can get through it. Some Batman work. And then we have all of the portraits, all of the paintings and portraits, or whatever you want to call them, that he did over the years. And all of these were turned into posters that you could buy. And I've owned several of those over the years. Yeah. And then we go through his process of how he does a cover. Okay. So this is Mad Love. I think it's not Mad. Yeah, I think it was called Mad Love. He did the cover for a Paul Dini book that was bringing Harley Quinn into the DC universe proper. He found influences from the 40s. He did an ink sketch of it. He actually got a mirror and used his own face as the Joker. So he painted himself up as the Joker. Wizard covers that he did with DC. This was the inside of a black and white miniseries, the first one that came out. And this was the inside cover. This was, he thinks in terms of, if someone really lived their life as Batman, what would their body look like? And he's all scarred up and beat up looking at things. Just fantastic stuff. Black and white, ink wash. Then he has pages from the series of comics that he did that were tabloid size that all came together for the Justice League. Just fantastic stuff. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. I think you get the idea. I mean, just amazing perspectives and on top of cityscapes and just amazing section on Wonder Woman. His Wonder Woman work is just phenomenal. Draws her as an Amazon. She's bulky yet feminist. Still keeps her curves. She's just solid. He really puts a lot of work and a lot of detail in this. And he really has an understanding for the characters because he always seems to go back to the source material. Captain Marvel, he's a huge Shazam fan. Animation style. More of the robots from the Fawcett comics. Goes back to even the 40s serial. Here's some work that he did in his younger days before he was actually working professionally. And, he took Captain Marvel Jr. from... Looks like, I think it says right here who it is, but I'm not going to get close enough to read. But we had, I think it's Fred McMurray, the guy who, he was in the original Flubber, and he's best known for My Three Dads. He kind of thought that he looked like Captain Marvel. He's had to do it. Kathy Ireland, and I want to say this is the actor that played Billy Batson in the TV show, but I could be wrong. So from the 70s, there was a live action 70s. So, and he always does that. He always thinks of actors that could look like these. Real life, who he's going to use to model when he did this stuff. Justice Society, he's done plates. He goes back, like I said, he does homage to the original covers, and he changes the angle and that's how I think he keeps the spirit of these things, more of the pictures that became posters. And here's where you can compare his artwork to the originals. These were probably, right there it says comic book price guides. So anything he did for DC. Kingdom Come work, more Justice Society figures. Sandman, this is from an annual of Sandman, I think, where he did some ink wash. He's done plates that have not made it in the comics. You had to special order the plates. He does covers for trade paperbacks. This was a series of trades that started where it was all the Justice League, Justice Society team-ups going on. This is the first trade of their Crime Syndicate on here and different Earths, Justice Society. Then we get into the Justice I was talking about. This was a series of books, more Justice League stuff, Wizard covers. Here's a Queen 2 album cover, and he experimented before he got into comics with using that on the Justice League. I got a lot of this stuff. This is kind of fascinating for me. Aquaman. Yeah, so just love. He's just, you can just feel how much he respects and loves this stuff. Green Lantern, I think you get the whole point. More plates that he did that you had to special order. Phenomenal Green Arrow work. The Atom. And I'm going to skip ahead here because there's other stuff I want to show, you know. Now, I love this. I'm going to zoom in on this, take the picture out. But Warner Brothers owns the Hanna-Barbera characters. And he did this amazing collage. Not collage work, but this amazing piece of all of the, a lot of the Hanna-Barbera characters, you know, cartoons from the 70s and the 60s. Blue Falcon, Dynamite. A phenomenal Space Ghost where he just let the white be white to mix in with the background. Shazam, you know, just so much stuff. And you come over here with this piece and we start getting into the Super Friends. He has the Wonder Twins in there with Bleep. Yeah, there's Wendy and Marvin. Just phenomenal stuff. Black Lightning, Apache Chief. So yeah, just a great stuff. And I'm a big fan of Space Ghost. I'm a fan of the Herculoids. So, and yeah, he has Glop and, you know, Gloop and Gleep in there from the Herculoids. Just amazing stuff. Okay. And I have, and then on the next page here, I have it marked. Yeah, I was telling you about him being a super fan of the 70s. Here's a Legion piece based on, I believe, a Dave Cockrum cover with them in their 70s bathing suit era is what they called it, Superboy and the Legion. And plates from the Teen Titans. Okay. And like I said, it shows the pieces that he used to inspire and do the research. So there's a lot more to art when you have time to do it. Now, another thing this has is there are rejected pieces by Alex Ross. And this was a series of villain covers that he wanted to do in the style of Justice. So if you get this, you'll get a lot of unreleased stuff. Gorilla Grodd, Penguin, Solomon Grundy. You know, is that Catman? No, Catwoman, excuse me. Bizarro. Scarecrow. Harley Quinn. That would be worth a fortune now. So, of course, that was rejected, but, you know, nothing to be wasted. And this is actually Alex Ross. He seems to have a habit, and I think it's cool. He uses his face for the Joker. He also uses family and friends. He uses the same model for Captain America and Superman. And this is from World's Funniest. He did a few pages of Kingdom Come pages for Evan Dorkin's one-shot that came out. Back in the early 2000s, where Mxyzptlk and Batmite were having fights throughout the multiverse. And these were pages from that. Yeah, now this piece, I know exactly. I love this piece. This is a piece dedicated to Alan Moore, but they broke up the pages. And I suspect it's because Alan Moore threw in some Easter eggs in there. These are all the books and characters that Alan Moore had wrote that is under, you know, terms that they can get a hold of them, like Watchmen was printed through DC, Swamp Thing, Constantine. Then they go into his Supreme work. And what was interesting about this piece, and I think it was done for Wizard more than DC, was that he hid two things in there: Crypto the Superdog, and the dog Supreme, who was pretty much, you know, Supreme's dog also. He had them flying away where it looked like Crypto was getting humped by the dog. And then he also had Superman and Supreme flying in a way it looked like they were dancing with each other. So he got a little funny in there, if you will. So I thought it was kind of funny that they split the page up and made it a collage more than actual work. And then we had the Crisis. He went back for the Crisis trade that came out, sort of an anniversary edition, and they broke it up so you can see the detail. Alex Ross went in here and he did this phenomenal piece that, I don't know, it seems like they said they had over 600 characters on it or something. And he sat there and George Perez penciled this, and he went over and drew it, and he would talk about the process of working on a figure here and a figure there to feel like he was getting it. And I think when he saw some anatomy that needed to be fixed, he would get a hold of George Perez, and Perez was like, hey, go for it. And this is in his Kingdom Come. This is full of Kingdom Come. He used his father as a character in Kingdom Come, the Everyman. and we get tons and tons of stuff. Now I have a lot of Wizard magazines that has some of these pages, and we see pencils in there, the covers, Alex Ross's remarks about doing this, some of his thoughts, background stuff. So you kind of get the idea. It covers a whole lot of stuff. The advertisements that were in there, they came out with a novelization of Kingdom Come, and he talks about some of the work that he did on that. So, if you're a lover of Kingdom Come, this is definitely the place to go. The figures that came out based on it, I just sold this. So now I'm looking at this like, maybe I shouldn't have it. So he has the figures that were based on his work. Just amazing stuff. And we go back in, close-ups, more of Kingdom Come. Looking at pieces of his work. I don't mean to go so fast. And then this is what I was getting to. In the middle of it, we have a big panel here where they unfold this so that we even get more of the battle. Which I think is just pretty swell. Are you liking that camera work? But yeah, and then the Kingdom, where the Kingdom Monthly, he petitioned to have some more books come out, but they ended up going on with this project without him. Mark Waid sort of directed it. So, some more stuff. And then he wanted a break from superheroes there for a little bit after doing Marvels and then Kingdom Come and all these big projects. And he and a friend just got together and they did this History of America by using Uncle Sam. So we have some Uncle Sam work in here. Panels and the story behind it. And, Alex Ross may be a preacher's kid, but, he knows that sometimes with art, you got to say something. So, there's Uncle Sam giving us the finger. Giving somebody the finger. Hopefully it's communism. I don't know. Okay. Just phenomenal stuff. Okay. So I think you kind of get the idea. And what was sweet about this is that, we actually see the work that he actually did for this book and how he used a model. That is a model. He's setting up all the shading and stuff for the cover with his friend, so he can paint it, and he shows us his process he goes through, how he takes the pictures and what from the penciling stage, the pictures for reference, the lighting, the penciling, the inking. So we actually get to see him work, and it goes through every stage, and it's quite a lot of work, and he prides himself on professionalism. And these, like I said, it shows he's got pictures and references for friends and people that he hired to model for his books. And then we get this story in the back. This is the true story. He did a Superman Batman story, and it's just for this book. And he even got to play around with the details. Like that's the bottom of Batman's boot, and he even put the bat emblems on there for tread. So looking at his work isn't just like the phenomenal photorealism he puts in there. It's what Easter eggs does he put in there. So that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm going to do 2-3 more of these videos. I just enjoy these books. So goodbye. Keep reading the comics.